Hello. So my name is Picostrof, and this video that you're seeing right here will be my submission video for ESA Winter 2020. So as you can see, the game will be The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, specifically the any person category. So let's get right away. So in terms of intentions, let's name it ESA Hype. Currently, this run will be intended to be a race that I should be doing with Dr. Hugo, who also has got... Wait, no, that's not right. Who also has a time on speedrun.com. And we also already have some commentators who already are interested in submitting... not submitting, sorry about that. In commentating the run. So it means that in that sense we're already covered for the run itself. Okay, so let's start the run itself in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay, there we go. So to get some info started on Skyward Sword 80%, first off you'll notice that the game is in Japanese. And that is the case with many games. The reason why that is because the game has faster text. But there is also another thing to notice, which is that we're actually playing the game in hero mode. The reason why that is, mainly, is because when you're in hero mode, you can actually skip cutscenes, which saves a huge amount of time. However, those aren't the only effects that are in place when playing in hero mode, because when you play in those conditions, not only can you not find hearts which can heal up Link, but also the damage taken is double. Now what that means is that, first off, the run is a lot more dangerous when you get attacked by enemies, but something to consider also is that this is a run where Link will die a lot, because we'll be exploiting a glitch called Back in Time, and in fact really soon, like in a couple of minutes, we'll already do our first Back in Time, and I'll explain what it is like when we come to it. And it's a glitch that requires Link to die. So in that sense, the fact that we have double damage is really useful to us because it means we can die quicker, but it's also a double-edged sword, because dying basically means... like, dying at the wrong moment can definitely set us a bit back. But definitely, we've got a lot of save points and whatnot that can allow for safety in a marathon setting. And as Harp is pointing out, there are some glitches, some triggers that are also hero mode exclusive. Like, especially we might see with some back in time moments in which requires skipping a cutscene for it to work. We'll see later on, which works only in hero mode. So definitely being in hero mode is pretty much necessary. So you'll notice here that I'm saving, and it is vital to save in this case because we're gonna do our first Back in Time. So we'll use this cliff right here to kill Link. So here you can see we lose 2 hearts because double damage. There we go. So now we'll go up and we'll just do that. There we go. And now one last time. The principle of Back in Time is that when Link dies and you're in the game over screen, you will notice that you've got to either go back to title screen or continue menu. What we'll do is that we'll actually reset the console at the same time as we press continue. And what that will do, let's try it, is that the game will try to load both the title screen and continuing the game at the same time. And because of that, what that leads to is that we can actually play in the title screen. That's what it leads to. And this is really, really broken because it means we can actually manipulate the files and the flags, the multiple scene flags, while playing the game, which is really, really useful. There we go. So the first thing we're about to do right here is that we're gonna actually corrupt this file which is a setup for later on by deleting it and saving over it. So yeah, I'm deleting the file and at the same time saving on it, which will corrupt file 3. And this is a setup for a later back in time that we'll do. Up, and I'll explain why that is, I guess, later. Up, there we go. So now we're gonna do our first of what we call RBMs, or reverse bit magic. See, in this game, like when you're in back in time, you can affect what we call scene flags, like on the back in time map. But since your main file is on, well, the actual main file, you can also affect the flags in the main file, not just the back. Oops, little mistake there. Wait, let me retry. Wait, that's my bad. So you may be wondering, what have I done here? So what I've just done here will allow us to get the goddess sword early, because now we've actually set the flag in the main file that says, oh, we got the sword. Now, of course, why do we not have it right now? We have to do something called committing first off to actually get it. And to commit it, we're actually gonna go through that little cutscene that is right over there. There we go. And normally, if it worked... There we go. So you can see now that we've got the goddess sword. Which we normally aren't supposed to be having until like a bit less than an hour into the game. The reason why it works is because normally when you're in back in time and start a file, the game does a sanity check and puts all the scene flags to how they should be. However, if you trigger the flag after having pressed starting the file, which is what we did here with the goddess sword, so there is a very specific timing as to when you actually have to press a file, then you will bypass that sanity check, and because of that, the flag stays in place, and therefore we've got the goddess sword. And this is what the RBM, or reverse bit magic, is. And this glitch is a backbone, really, like as well as back in time, of this entire speedrun. And what makes it really interesting is to see how much can be skipped and how flexible it is, because it has so many purposes in terms of the flags that you can trigger using that glitch. Yeah, there's so many ways to use it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna go and free the Loftwing using the sword. And then we're gonna go through the Loftwing tutorial, which is a pretty calm section. But what we're gonna do after, you may remember that I corrupted the file earlier. And soon, this will soon, like in a couple minutes, make sense. And so, you'll see what happens, like when you load a corrupt file. Go. Oops, my bad. Yeah, you have to be careful about stamina. There we go. There we go. So now we're going through the tutorial. So pretty calm section. It's fine. So right now it's basically, yeah, just skipping like the text boxes as fast as we can. I'm just waiting. So this is a pretty good moment, like, for donation readings. So now in just a few seconds the tutorial should end. Just a few, there we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna save and quit the game, and we're gonna load file 3, which you may remember we corrupted earlier by deleting and then saving right after on it. So save and quit right there. And what will happen is that by loading the corrupt file, this will immediately kill Link when we load up. The reason why that is that when a file is corrupt, all of Link's values, like including health, are set to 0. So because of that, he will die. And so that's just a way to basically get a quick death for Link. There we go. Quick death. And we're gonna perform another RBM through Back in Time. So this one is a bit different. So first off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bonk on a tree, which is gonna because when you're in Back in Time, when you set certain flags such as bonking on trees with a certain file, it will allow us to affect the overworld on the Back in Time itself. So here, oops, there we go. By doing that, I just opened the portal to the academy that is right there. I'm just gonna, there we go, because otherwise it's lag. There we go. Then I'm gonna perform what we call bit saving, which means saving the file while in Back in Time. Which means that if I were to load the file, I would respawn in that state. Like, not in that state, but wait. And then I'm just gonna copy that file too, because that will be necessary for later on. When you bit save, you still will spawn in the map. Like, you'll just spawn on this layer of Skyloft, but in normal gameplay, not in Back in Time kind of state. But it will be on that layer of Skyloft. And doing that is quite important in many instances of the run. So now we're gonna perform, as I said, another RBM. There we go. There we go. So now we're loading up into file 1, and now see, we're loading up right there. So we're still in normal gameplay. And now we can just enter the statue, since in this layer is just right open. So this RBM that we've just done with the practice sword is that it made us gain the green tablet that will allow us to gain access to Farron. There we go, so we'll place a tablet. So likewise, you may notice, like in the previous RBM, that I was specifically waiting at certain times to trigger the file. And for instance, I waited till the last text box before actually starting the file. If I hadn't done that, the game would have crashed. Now, if the game crashes, it's not... I mean, you still lose time, but just resetting the console is enough. You just have to restart the RBM. The advantage is that if you fail any Back in Time section, since by definition you save right before it, it means you just have to reload and restart. It's still a bit of an amount of time lost, and that's why the estimate time will allow for for that time to breathe in case errors happen, because it can happen. But it's not a huge deal if you fail an RBM. They can be retried. There's only a few sections in which you have to be wary of, but usually there's easy ways to check that it worked out well or not. Or if not, usually it can be redone later on in the run. It will make, what I'm saying right now will make sense when we come to those moments. Well, it's definitely really exciting because most RBMs are quite different from one another and will require some specific actions that are quite weird to do at times. But that's what's exciting about Back in Time. Okay, so now that we're done with Skyloft, first off, before leaving Skyloft, I'll just talk to him and he will give us a shield. That is not necessary. We technically don't need a shield for the run, but definitely, I suppose, needless to say, it's very good for safety of the run, especially towards the end, like for the final fights and whatnot. So it's a bit for time loss, but it's no big deal, it's just a few seconds there. But definitely, for marathon safety, you definitely want to have a shield. Or unless you're a very, very confident person. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna fly off. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly towards Farron. And what we're gonna do, like while we're flying, is that we'll actually drop off the left wing, like midway through. The reason why that is that normally if you're playing casually, there will be a moment where Fi will start talking to you. So let's drop here. Oh well. Right afterwards I failed it. I was actually pressing the button and I just failed. That's fine, it's no big deal, it's just a small time loss. Doesn't usually happen. See, it's minor stuff, it's like no big deal, but normally what you're supposed to do is like I just waited slightly too long, but that's fine. It's no big deal. It just allows you to skip that little cutscene. Something I forgot to mention earlier is that the route we've done for Skyloft is actually a bit of a slower route than what is usually done optimally. But that's because it is a much safer route compared to what is usually done, like if you were to, let's say, do a world record pace run or like a fast paced run. Because the fast route for Skyloft requires, I believe, a frame perfect trick that if failed can be pretty bad time loss. So definitely for marathon safety it's much better to do that route for Skyloft. Yeah, I did. Harm got a good point. I suppose I just wanted to show really suppose what would really happen. Like normally, oh well. Yeah, 2 frame. Yeah, I'm just gonna kill those guys just because they're a bit annoying. Okay, there we go. So we can see here how being able to skip cutscene is really useful. We're just... So just by jumping on an angle like that, we don't take fall damage on that angle. It's a bit harder on that first jump, so it's just faster to take damage. Besides, in Skyward Sword speedrunning, most of the time you want to remain on low health. Because of back in time, because you sometimes need to get quick death. Which is what makes this run a bit scary at times, because, well, if you die, it can be a bit troublesome. But once again, it's no big deal. It's no run killer if you die. It's quite forgiving most of the time. It's just that you get time loss due to that, but like it won't kill a run absolutely to die. It's fine. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna go up to the Seal Temple. There we go. So lots of people like to say, and I agree with that saying, that this is probably like one of the calmest sections of the run. Like definitely the run picks up a lot in pace towards the middle and end section of the run. So right now we're still in the rather calm part of it. But you'll see, it really gets crazy. You know, while we go through these calm sections, something that's really interesting to mention is how this route is quite fresh. Like, it's quite recent overall. Because the RBMs were actually only recently discovered this year. Before then, Skyward Sword speedruns used to be like 5-6 hours long. And used to not really be favorable in that sense, as you can understand, for marathons. There were like a few GDQ runs like a couple years back, and also some years back. And I don't recall, yeah, there were any runs for ESA. And it's understandable because it was a long run. But now with the discovery of RBM specifically, there was back in time, but there were no RBM specifically. And when I talk, I keep messing up the thing. Me getting distracted. Nice. Yeah, I was supposed to fill up this. There we go. Very nice. But yeah, I was saying now with the discovery of RBMs, the run is a lot more concise, and therefore that's why it's also a lot better for marathons nowadays. Here we can just save a few frames by taking the left door. There we go. I'm not expecting this run to be like the best run I ever do. I just all I'm expecting is to have like a decent run that is presentable to you. That should work well enough, and it should be. Okay, here we get to the Bokos, and what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do a Skyward strike to get hopefully a good sweep of them. Oops, I did not mean to do that. It can be annoying sometimes to deal. There we go. Well, that was a pretty bad fight. That's fine though. Yeah, because normally, when you have the normal Goddess Sword, like without it being upgraded at all, Skyward strikes deal quite a lot more damage than normal strikes. So usually you want to go for that. It can be a bit annoying because the Bokoblins can't block these attacks. So it can be a bit annoying, but usually it's fine. And most of the time you should be able to get them in one hit. Or if it's not one hit, as you saw earlier, you just need to do a final blow on them and it should be fine. There we go. Yeah, so Blade will nail Cube Warp. It's no big deal if we fail Cube Warp. That's something we'll see a bit later on, like in, I'd say 10 minutes from now. Which is a way to save a couple minutes once again of travel. And I'll explain it when we get to it. There we go. I'll definitely learn Extending Blow, like in the meantime. That's also another skip that can be done, a very fast skip that can be done later on. Okay, so you see here how the other one was killed instantly, but this one blocked the Skyward strike. But even because, yeah, Cube Warp and Extending Blow are two methods to save a few minutes of movement a bit later in the run, like 10 minutes from now. But even if you fail them, it's no big deal. You just have to traverse it. Like, it definitely doesn't compromise getting like a run under 3 hours, most definitely. Okay, so right now what we're doing in the forest, for those who don't know the game casually, we just have to find all the Kikwis in the forest, which are those cute creatures. So there's that first one that gets scared. So first off, we'll just roll on that giant mushroom. Link traumatizing those poor little cute creatures. Then we just do that to unroll that vine. Normally you're supposed to use the slingshot to unroll it, but luckily we can just do that and that works. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's our first Kikwi, and if I recall correctly, there's a total of 4 Kikwis. But they're pretty quick to get. Should be fine. Up. Okay. So really a lot of this section relies basically on stamina management. Because the more time you can spend sprinting, the better. But obviously, when you sprint, you lose stamina, and you definitely don't want to lose all your stamina. That's a bit of time loss. It's not too bad, of course. I jinxed myself. Nice. GG to me. But yeah, it's not like a big deal if that happens. But you know, motion controls can be a bit finicky at times. But worst case, we can always recalibrate them. Yeah, because I seem a bit on the left for whatever reason, but that's fine. I'll just readjust a bit. There we go. So now we've got another group of bokoblins that we'll need to kill. So I'll try to get them in like as less hits as I possibly can. Likewise, using Skyward Strike to do a sweep. There we go. There we go. 2 sweep. Not the best, but it definitely works. Then, so here we go, we see this little Kikui on top of the tree, and we'll need to bonk on the tree to make it go down. And hello Rasen, by the way, I didn't see you there. There we go. If you try to bonk on the tree before killing the bokoblins, it doesn't work. If I recall correctly, you just see the Kikui trying to hang on for his poor life. Because, well, he's scared of the bokoblins, which makes sense. Poor guy. But yeah, now he's safe. The precious Kikui is safe. Cuteness overload. Okay, there we go. Okay. So now we're gonna do a quick swing on this vine. There we go. There we go. So here we just need to save a bit on stamina because we'll need to climb on these vines. And here falling off because of lack of stamina can be a bit annoying. So there we go. Well, luckily we can just pick up this fruit. Then we're gonna save some time by, there we go, doing a Skyward Strike on that grass. There we go. That's our third Kikui. There we go. Okay, let's go. Let's just be careful about the Deku. There we go. Okay, so you may be wondering why am I rolling this log down. This is actually because we need to come back to this area later on in the run. This does for a nice shortcut. So that's a very nice thing to do right there. Okay, we've got our last Kikui right there. Yoo-hoo! Okay, now we're just gonna go down. And now we're gonna see the Elder Kikui. It was right there earlier where I lost all my stamina. Where I jinxed myself very nicely. There we go. And that's where we're about to obtain the slingshot. So here, just for dialogue optimization, we just pick all the left options. I think, if I recall correctly, it should save around 5 seconds to do so. There we go. Here we've got... Very nice. We're a bit late, but once again, it's no big deal. It's fine. Here, we just do a little side hop right away so that we can quickly get off his back. Okay, so now the next course of action is that we're gonna go to the first dungeon called Skyward Temple, which we're gonna cheese through, basically. Yes, we technically still do have a lot of potential time save, like technically speaking, on this run, since my PB is quite unoptimized, because I've got a lot of improving to do on this run. But I've been getting a lot better lately. And I know that by the time ESA comes around, my skills should be even better and more consistent. There you go. Okay, so soon we're gonna see, like I was talking about the cube warp earlier, like that Harp was mentioning earlier in chat, and we're soon gonna see that. Hopefully I'll manage to get it. In theory it's not that hard to get, but I've been messing it up lately. But as I've said, if I mess it up, it's no big deal. It's fine. There we go. I just don't want... I don't want him to call this guy so that he won't annoy me, but it's too late, it looks like. It's not necessarily what I'm doing, I just don't want them to annoy me. There we go. So what is Cube Warp? You may ask. So you may see, a bit further away, you may see like a goddess cube. Wait, once we arrive I'll show it to you. Right there. Just right there. And if you Skyward strike it, it will trigger a little cutscene of it like activating, which will therefore like warp us just next to it. Got it, very nice, first try. So as you can see now, Link is next to it, and it allows us to get straight away to over here instead of going all the way around. It's only like around a minute lost if we don't get it, like a minute and a half, something like that. It's no biggie, but it's very nice that we got it. And the alternative method, the more advanced method, which I haven't learned yet but probably will have done by the time ESA comes around, is called extending blow, which is a technique in which when you do a final blow on the bokoblin with certain conditions, Link will actually do the final blow and be transported all the way to the central coordinates of the map, which just happens to be right around here. It requires certain conditions, and it's a bit advanced. So I still haven't learned that technique. I don't know the full details, but probably, yeah, I'll know more by the time the marathon actually comes around. Okay, so we're gonna enter Skyward Temple. We're gonna see a new way to use the back in time trick, which is called bit warp. So, what is bit warp, you may ask? That's a very good question. So, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna save at this statue, which is gonna tell the game, okay, so file 1 is located at this statue of Skyward Temple. Okay, Skyward Temple. Then, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it back in time. We're gonna go to a specific statue in Skyloft in back in time, and we're gonna save and load the file at the same time. Bit save and load the file at the same time. Now, what is this gonna do? The result will be, while you load the file, you know, it will tell the game, okay, let's load to Skyward Temple. But since you're saving the game at the same time, it will record new coordinates to the file. So it will actually do both at the same time. It will both load Skyview and put the new coordinates at the same time. And what that will lead to is that it will therefore make you spawn in Skyward Temple on different coordinates. And it is very convenient because it basically means for us it will spawn basically at the end of the dungeon. There we go. So at the same time. And normally, if done correctly, which I think it is, there we go. We spawn like in completely at the end of the dungeon. We still have a few things left to do before going to the end, though. So we're not just done yet. But yeah, you can see how we just cheese through the entire dungeon right now. The main thing we need to do first is get the beetle. So let's do that first. So first we'll need to set some flags by killing that enemy. There we go. And we're also gonna set some flags by breaking those little wood planks there. That sets a flag that will be necessary. Like sometimes there's little odd actions that you need to do occasionally to make sure that things work. Okay, I don't want him to annoy me. There we go, he dead. Then I'm just gonna go, since there's the spider. The reason why they weren't there previously is because we kind of loaded in the room, like not in the correct way, but now that we actually came in the room through a normal means. Oops, that was a bit bad, that's fine. There we go. Since we actually loaded the room correctly, now all the enemies and everything are loaded correctly, so we just have to be careful about that. So now we're gonna obtain the beetle. There we go. So we'll have to go through a mini boss to get it. There we go. Give Beetle a beetle. Okay, so okay, with the shield we can basically cheese through that mini boss. There we go. So you just go for shield. There we go. Now we don't need the shield anymore. It's fine. There we go. And is this a gold I smell? Well, it was a gold. Very nice. Now we're technically on PvP pace. Well, that's very nice. So you can see, like by the time the marathon comes around, my run should be very much more optimized. Like if I grind it. So now what we're gonna do, now that we've got the beetle, is that we're gonna go out. And then our next step will be not to obtain the boss key that will come up very soon, but we'll need to perform another RBM, which will be, you'll see later on exactly what we're about to do. I just want to kill those guys because I don't want them to annoy me. There we go. Thank you, sir. Now, I'll just use the beetle to grab a red rupee that is right over there. And once again, this is to set some flags. There we go. And now, what we're gonna do is, as per the usual drill with back in time, we'll need to save and then die. So first off, you see the statue like on the right. So first we're gonna traverse this. We'll just make that Boko fall, because it's a bit annoying. He's on our way. There we go. And then we're gonna save right here. Very nice. Up. Now that we have saved, we're gonna kill Link. Well, as you can see, gaming, we're on a pretty good pace. Okay, very good. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna copy that over to this. Then we're gonna bonk on that tree. There we go. to open the gate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna... Oops, my bad. There we go. So while we're bit saving, we're copying at the same time. There we go. There we go. There we go, should have worked. So you may have been wondering, why was I so seemingly careful with my movement? Like, that seems a bit odd. The reason for that is because when you usually interact with file 3, during back in time, like in a specific moment from now onwards, if the camera points at any moment to the pumpkin field that is on Skyloft, this will actually trigger Phi to talk to Link and lock Link in an infinite loop of him picking up like this pumpkin, which is very bad because it means you have to restart the entire back in time. So what I've done there is I was basically ensuring that I wouldn't be staring at that pumpkin field with my camera accidentally. There's obviously faster ways to do that, but better be safe than sorry. So that's why usually whenever from now on, every time we use file 3, like we interact with file 3 during back in time, we'll need to be careful into where we point our camera. Like usually the rule of thumb is to not stare at the market. That's usually the rule of thumb. At least don't put the camera towards that direction. So now, of course, what was it, RBM? What was its purpose? What could it possibly be? What was it? Well, we're gonna fight the hardest boss in the game. We're about to do the most complicated fight there is in the entire run. This is a very scary moment. It triggers Dark Beast Ganon. Yes, let's bring the final boss from another game. Yeah, we're gonna fight the hardest boss in the game. See, that was super hard. Definitely the most difficult. See, that was the most difficult fight. What this RBM did is that it actually unlocked that door that you just saw right there, so you can just skip the boss entirely. So yeah, you can just cheese through, and now we're done with the first dungeon in... There we go. So now you may have noticed earlier in the back in time that we copied file 1 to file 3. And now that will come into play. Yes, I know, I probably should. That's a good habit I should pick up. Omega Kappa. Oh, you were talking about Twilight Princess. I guess I'm just more used to... to Breath of the Wild. But yeah, now we're gonna save and quit and we're gonna go to file 3. And now we're gonna basically go die again. Now the reason why we didn't just skip it corrupt, because you know, if you know, you may be thinking, well, if you're loading this file just to die, then why don't you just keep it corrupt? But that's also because the flags that are set on file 3 are vital for some moments during the back in time sequences. So we needed to stay like that for the time for basically the rest of the run. At other times we bit save on it. There we go. So now we're dead. Up. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna perform what we call Early Pillar. So that means activating the Eldin Pillar, well, early. There we go. So first, we're gonna bonk on the tree to open the gate to the academy, because we'll need to access the goddess statue. And we're gonna pick up a rupee on file 1. Where? It was file 1, let me remember. Yes, that was file 1. In order to actually get the items in our inventory, which we'll need to actually put the tablet into the statue. Then we're just gonna check. There we go. And then bit save. Oh crap. Oops, that's my bad. Okay, so select file 3. Then we've got file 3 selected. And now we selected this file 3. To bit save F1. The problem, if you don't do that, if you don't select the statue with F3, it might trigger a cutscene that requires you to restart the entire back in time, so that's pretty bad. But luckily, it just took a bit of... I just had a bit of trouble there, but that's fine. So now we're gonna enter the goddess statue. Now, however, you think... Okay, so... By doing early pillar, it's gonna trigger the pillar on that particular file. So for instance, if I do early pillar on file 1, which is a specific type of RBM, it will then trigger the pillar on file 1. But you will notice I will actually do it on file 2. And that will make sense much later on in the run. And I will explain when the moment comes, but you definitely must get it on file 2. Like with that setting. It's one of those moments you need. 0, 1. Basically, this is one of those moments where... Okay, so now it means we load file 2, which we bit saved here, and it worked. We've got the pillar in file 2. The reason why that is because later on we'll need to... There we go, now we'll quit file 2 and we'll load back file 1, which is now bit saved just next to the statue. And we'll now actually place it in file 1, the tablet. But yeah, the reason why, and we'll just need to heal up right there. The reason why we did that is because later in the run we'll need to go fly to Farron in back in time. Now, however, to actually do that, the only properties, like of the only flags that will allow us to fly in back in time is through the flag that file 2 currently has. And see, when you're in file 2, when you're flying in back in time, like in the sky, the layer on which you're in, the map layer, is the one of the tutorial, which we actually saw earlier in the run, the very beginning. The meaning of that is that there are actually invisible walls that prevent you from going, let's say, to the Farron light pillar. And therefore we need to... And we just are lucky enough that we can access, even despite those invisible walls, to the Eldin Pillar, which are just within reach of the invisible walls. Now you're wondering, I said earlier, we're going to Farron in back in time, but yet we go to the Eldin Pillar. So why is that? Well, the reason for that is because since file 2, according to file 2's properties, we never actually went down to the surface. So when we go to any light pillar, it will think that it will say, oh, it's the first time to ever go to a light pillar. So what will it say? Well, let's send you to the first light pillar, which is Farron. It just registered because it's, according to it, it's the first time you go, so it will load Farron instead of Eldin, basically. On a very basic level. There we go. And that's why it's vital to get early pillar on file 2, because otherwise it's impossible, like on other files, to do it. Okay, with the current settings we have. Now what we're about to do, we're gonna do another bit warp. So you notice I just saved. And now we're gonna perform another bit warp. That requires a bit of a because since it depends on coordinates, those coordinates can be sometimes a bit precise. Like, it was not precise at all for for sky view, but now we'll just need a bit of precision, but usually we should have a good visual cue, which should be fine. There we go. So this time we'll go to this statue. And usually if you're just right about at the grass right here, that should be the correct positioning, I hope so. There we go. Cross fingers, that was the right positioning. There we go, that was the right positioning. So what happened was that we actually spawned right under a goddess cube, and it therefore pushed us under the ground, which allowed us to go to this cave right away. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kill those bokoblins, and we're gonna get the digging mitts. Oops, there we go. There we go. And we just need to kill all the bokos. Hopefully we don't stupidly die, that would be bad. Oh wow, all in one sweep, nice. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, so now we're about to get the digging mitts. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately we got a bit of time loss because we were a bit slow like during the back in time, but that's fine. Like, we're definitely still on a good pace right now. There we go. There we go, very nice. Yes, PB twice. I'm not expecting this run to PB. Like, my goal is just to finish a run that is, you know, like decent enough, and I hope it can be enjoyable. Which I think it should be. Like, I'm pretty sure it will be good for a marathon. Up. Okay, so now we're gonna do another RBM right about now. So normally, casually in this section, like if you're playing casually the game at this point, you're supposed to go to the top of Eldin Volcano, and normally the door to Earth Temple is locked, and you're supposed to traverse the volcano to get the parts to the key to open it. And in the same way that we basically unlocked the door with Kirihim earlier in Skyward Temple, the RBM we're about to do completely skips that door entirely, so that's pretty entertaining to do. Up, so let's go for it. So something that will look a bit scary at first when we get to the top of the mountain, like assuming we don't die, like in between, is that you will see that the door is still locked. When we actually reach the top of the mountain, we'll be thinking, wait, are you sure it's worked? But as we'll approach the door, it will then trigger the cutscene that we're showing Link entering the dungeon. So it will be fine. So now we just need to sleep. There we go. Now we'll just need to live with file 2, or otherwise the RBM will... Like, otherwise it will actually trigger a little cutscene that will ruin the RBM if we don't live with file 2. There we go. You know, well, I see the title screen, there's just something I'd like to mention, something you have to be really careful about. Which is that if you linger in for too long on the actual title screen, the game will actually load, like, you know, if you linger for too long, it will just load like the introduction cutscene, you know, if you're idle for too long. And therefore it will actually pull you out of the back in time. So you have to be, so that's why you usually want to stay like in the menu itself. No! Well, Okay, okay, my bad. Okay, I failed it. That's on me. I failed it. I assume my mistake. That was on me. Okay, so the mistake I've done here is, and once again, that's no big deal. We'll just lost like a minute or something. It's definitely catchable. Like, it's no big deal. We'll just need to redo it. Is that I was supposed to... I basically pressed start the file at the wrong moment. So because of that, I mean, maybe it worked, but I'm not sure and I don't want to take the risk. So let's just redo it this time around. But as you see, this is exactly what I mean, like with this run. Like even if you fail, like it's no big deal, you can just redo it. It's fine, it's safe. Like you don't have to fear losing the run entirely because of that. There are some back in time sections where failing them will be a hefty amount of time loss. And it can be quite annoying. But there's not really that many moments in this run that are legit run killers, if there's any. Like, to me the biggest potential run killer is failing the early pillar to Eldin, not realizing it, and by the time it's too late to actually do it, you realize that you can't actually access Farron, which kills the run. But as you can see, a simple check is more than enough to to check that it worked. So this run remains fairly safe. There we go. So this time let's do it properly. So okay, so I'm gonna actually pull the file. There we go. There we go. Should have worked now. I apologize for that, but that's on me. That's fine. Let's go. Okay, so now it means that the door should be unlocked. The door to the Earth Temple. So now we'll just scale our way up to the Earth Temple itself. So it can be a bit annoying at times, this little section, but we'll try our best. There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go, just gonna pick up this fruit and we're gonna get going. Hopefully we will reach the top without any trouble, because it can be fairly easy, like, to choke this moment and accidentally get hit by a boulder or a boko. Well, that's pretty bad. Well, I jinxed myself again. Wow. So, now that I've died, there's nothing to worry about. The RBM is still in effect. God damn it, I keep jinxing myself. Professional choker. Choker of speedruns. But nah, that's fine. So the flag's already set. The only difference now is that, okay, the bokos are dead, so we can just run straight up. Oh. Oh my god. Nice. GG to me. Yeah, I'll just need to take some damage indeed on the way. Probably inside the temple. Like with the fire keys and whatnot. Or maybe not with the keys, because the fire damage might make it a bit risky. But yeah, because we'll need to do some other RBMs, we'll need to have low health. Worst case, yeah, it should be fine. So what will happen is that we'll actually see the door open, normally. Well, that's a pole split, but as you can see, it's a bit annoying, but that's fine. Then I will just go up. Thanks, Bokos. And the reason for that is that I was too eager, and let's wait that I have more stamina. Like, let's wait for full stamina before going. That was a mistake, because since I didn't have enough stamina, I fell back and I got hit. So yeah, there we go, got more stamina. There we go. There we go, so you can see now the door is open. If I hadn't died, you would have seen the door closed, but still the cutscene trigger. So it's a shame we have a time loss here, but it's fine. Like, to me it still doesn't compromise the estimated time. You know, it's for that kind of scenario that there'll be a fairly high estimate, which is fine. The run still remains safe. And thank you, Jim, for the good luck. I hope you're doing well. Up. Sometimes we just run in unfortunate scenarios. Up. It's very funny now because, like in Fire's dialogue, he's saying, "Oh look, the door is locked. We need to pick up keys." Yeah, to a very clearly locked door. I like that. There we go. So now here we get into the dungeon. So as you can see, it triggered even before we actually reached the door. You see what I meant earlier? Even if the door was locked, we would still have reached within. I don't want to risk like the damage thing with them because the fire damage can jinx us a bit more. Oh, I tried to roll, but it didn't work. That's fine. There we go. So as you can see, it's a little cutscene skip that you can do, like if you have the proper timing. So it just saves like a second or two, but it's nice. We don't need to kill him, but I just don't want him to annoy me. Likewise for this guy, just to be sure I'm safe. So we're just gonna Skyward strike this bomb and bring that over here. Yeah, we're a bit behind, but as I said, it's fine. There we go. Up. There we go, this guy's dead. Oh yeah, Harm, about your Breath of the Wild tournament race. That was unfortunate. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Oh crap, I can't stun him because of the... Yeah, I'm losing a bit of unnecessary time. Okay, here my stamina is a bit of a troll, but that's fine. There we go. Yeah, okay, that split was a bit rough, but that's fine. That's why we've got room for estimate, you know. Okay, let's go. Now we've got the bombs. Let's go. Okay, so now we're gonna soon go through another RBM. Up. So now we've got a bomb bag, but he's actually gonna give us bombs. So now, once again with the mechanic of committing, normally you're supposed, like normally, casually speaking, you're supposed, like to go all the way around the dungeon to actually activate like a little bridge, a rising bridge that leads to then the final stretch of the dungeon. But with the RBM that we're gonna do, we'll activate it straight away. It's actually the same as we did earlier for the entrance door to the dungeon itself. It's gonna be the same one. So you see, like on the left, right here. And thank you, Flair, for the host, by the way. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, here we're gonna do this. Now that we saved, we're gonna do the RBM, and this is gonna activate that bridge that will allow us to basically skip most of the dungeon. So it's, as I was saying, it's the same one that we do for skipping the key collection for the Earth Temple door. I think it's really the only case where you really repeat an RBM. Because most of them are usually quite different. But yeah, it's pretty much the only time you do the exact same one, pretty much. They're similar. There are ones that are similar but usually have differences, but really this one's the exact same. But yeah, we're very lucky that those flags can really allow us to skip so many things, and we've only seen a little of it. There we go. So now file 2 to make sure we can actually do the RBM itself, because otherwise it will actually open the shed door, which will ruin the RBM. And hopefully this time around I won't screw up my timing with activating the file. Okay, activating the menu to make sure I don't accidentally get loaded into, like, outside, like, out of back in time and into the introduction cutscene of the game. Yeah, then it depends on category, but in the case of any percent, it's basically the same. There we go. It worked. So you'll see here, but yet it's still, you know, it's still down. But you see this little cutscene, which shows that it worked. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna die again to like reload. Yeah, to trigger a reload basically. But without doing it back in time. Oh, GG Flow. And now you see it's up. So now we can get going. Up to the final stretch. Oh, that's a shame, Flo. Hopefully next time then. There we go. There we go. Oh, 10 minutes ahead of PB. Then you've got potential. Thanks, RNG. Okay, so now... There we go. Just gonna place ourselves like this. There we go. So by doing that, basically it means that you can hear the... Normally that's the thing that drops the rocks, but since they just dropped, they are no actual rocks, so we can just sprint our way up. Oh my god, that hasn't happened to me in a long while. Legit. Legit, this run is being jinxed by so many, so much. I love it. But yeah. Jinx. I feel like this submission videos theme is being jinxed. But I think that shows you how much... The idea they want to reinforce is that it's not a run... like, you know, you've got lots of safety, you know, saving points, so it's quite a safe run overall. A lot more than it seems like, because with back-in times and such, you may think that it's not a safe run at all, but as long as you overall know what you're doing and know when to save, and you've got enough safety saves, which there's plenty of space for, it's a safe enough run. So now Indiana Jones moment. Oh no, we're gonna get squashed. Oh no, jump. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is, you don't need to do that, but I'll just safety save for Scaldera, the boss. I don't, like, it's very unlikely I'll die, but, you know, so far this run has been jinxed by many odd things that haven't happened to me in a while, so you never know. Safety first, after all. Like, if I died without saving, I would restart from, like, the central room. So it means, while I could directly indeed go back to the boss room, it would mean having to climb up all the way again. While saving here, if I died, I would just respawn there. Okay, so Scaldera coming up. A universally hated boss because basically the principle is, as is with many Zelda bosses, you want to hit its eye. And usually with the Skyward strike because it deals more damage than just a sword. The problem is, when the boss is stunned, its eye is constantly twitching around its body. And it's covered with the rock armor, which is gradually broken as you go through the boss. And sometimes, and by sometimes I mean many times, the eye will like to get itself under the rock armor, which means you can't hit it. Which can completely screw over your, like the strats you do. And it's basically RNG, unfortunately. And so sometimes this boss can take an awful lot of time for dumb reasons. And sometimes it has to be very cooperative. So let's see, here we've got our friend Girahim, who will decide to be very friendly to Link by invoking Scaldera, our best friend of the run. Or I mean, is our best friend Girahim or Scaldera? I don't know. Gonna almost have a debate on that. Oh. So you saw I picked up extra bombs because they'll be quite useful for some of the faster strats we'll do for this boss. There we go. So here's Scaldera. So hopefully we'll get good RNG. Oh my god, you see? Oh no! Not a single hit. See what I mean? Not a single hit. And we wasted bombs. Oh. Oh my. Oh no! Skull! Oh my, why do I feel we're gonna have lots of fun with Scaldera today? We've already wasted half our bombs and we've only got one small hit. And hello, Christoph. Oh crap, I failed to do the skip. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, whoa, 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 whoa. We've only got 3 bombs left, that's a bit risky. Okay, so we can just stand under him. Luckily when he does that it's pretty easy to avoid because then he'll just roll. There we go. And we just go on the other side. There we go, he dead. So now can we do a little clap for Scaldera, being very friendly? Not. Wait, what are we talking about? Because he harnessing nice world record to Christoph. Interesting glitch. Oh wait, did you get the world record in interesting glitch? Right. Well, GG. Congratulations. Okay, so here we'll need to have at least 5 bombs. So yeah, once again, thank our friend Scaldera for being very uncooperative with us today. There we go. So, okay, so now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go to get Fair's Courage, which we need for the to actually trigger the Farron trials later on in the run. And after that, we'll get the Goddess Harp, which will be necessary for the run. Because as a whole, what we're doing in this run, like generally speaking, like this is probably something I should have talked about earlier. But basically, the structure of this run is that first we get a Goddess Harp, which will be necessary to actually, officially to open, not to open, but like to make the Door of Time appear in the Seal Temple, if I recall correctly. Then, after getting the Goddess Harp, the rest of the run is dedicated to powering up the Master Sword so we can actually open the Door of Time, which allows us to get into the past, which is where Demise is. And in the meantime, you'll see later in the run, we'll perform a glitch called Song of the Hero Skip, which will allow us to skip like the whole last third of the game. But you will see and understand what I mean once we reach that part of the run. And yeah, Harm, I'll try to not jinx it again. What I mean by that is that in my PB run, what happened was, I was at that section of the run, so I was just flying, and I was, and you know, like when you reach that section of the scale, you can see those monsters right here. And I was saying, oh please don't kill me, and what happened, of course, they killed me, like 2 seconds after, which never happened to me before. And motion controls seem a bit finicky, so that's also something to be wary of. But ooh, no, you don't do that again. Even if that happens, once again you just respawn in that section of the sky, so it's no big deal. Luckily, the game is quite forgiving in that sense. So yeah, we need to go to the island, and we're gonna quickly do the puzzle to line up the bridge. Very likely it can very quickly be done. Alright, see you, Floa. Hope you have a nice day. There we go. We're just gonna turn that around. What we need to do is just align the pieces together to form the bridge. We've got 2 of them here. Then we'll align the third, the last one. There we go. And I will just align all of it to the tower so we can actually enter. There we go. Very nice. So now we're just gonna make our way over there. There we go. Oh, we actually... Wait, how did we save so much time? I'm not sure how we saved... Oh, yes, we saved the time because I died in the... I died in my PV, so that's where the time save is from. Okay, so now we're gonna do the next step first. It will require a few RBMs to do to get the Goddess Harp. The first one we're gonna do is Eldin Pillar to Luneiru. So for that, oh, there we go. There we go. So yeah, we're just about to do it. So now, first off, we'll need to pass by the academy to actually get to the statue, so we need to bonk a tree. And we'll need to actually have the tablet in our inventory, so we'll also grab a rupee when we do that. Oops, didn't work. There we go, and then grab the rupee. So now if we open with, there we go, it opens the door. Then we're just gonna bit save F1. So, which basically means we will later reload here and we can quickly get to Neneiru from there. Okay, I got traumatized by the time I got fired at this spot, so yeah, now it should work, because we checked with file 3. Okay, so this time for early pillar we need just to do it with file 1, no need to... Okay, yeah, that's normal, don't worry. I'm saying that because I was just talking about getting fired, so I know it can be scary when you talk about that and you see 5 popping up, but that's normal, like in that particular moment. There we go. There you go. So now we're gonna perform early pillar Neneiru on file 1. There we go, that should be good. So now we should see immediately if it worked or not. It worked, very nice. And even if it did not work, like if I had the wrong timing and whatnot, you can just go back to this statue and actually just place it there again. Like really, unlike the early pillar with file 2, which is like absolute necessity, this is just where to get the Neneiru pillar spawned fast. So even if you fail it, it's fine, you can just casually go to the goddess statue and place the tablet there. So no problems if it's failed. Now, of course, if you've played the game, you may think of something. Okay, the goddess harp, you normally obtain it after the dungeon that you're normally doing there. But yet here we are at the very beginning of the Neneiru desert. How do you go through getting the goddess harp so quickly? Well, as usual, the answer is RBMs. What we're gonna do is, in the Temple of Time, which is where you obtain the harp, there's a bird statue. And the RBM that we're about to do, what it does is that it will actually activate it. So once we are done with this RBM, we just have to leave Neneiru and come back and just land at this statue. And then we just need to trigger the cutscene so that we get the harp. That's it. Okay, so we're getting a bit of a scary RBM though, because we can easily accidentally trigger Phi by, as I said, putting the camera towards the pumpkin field. So it can be a bit scary, like with file 3. So hopefully it should be fine. We just need to check the statue with file 3. There we go, we should be good. So now we're gonna go down, not to the graveyard like we did earlier, we're gonna go down. Okay, we're gonna go, it's totally unnecessary, it could be a lot faster, but I'm just gonna go for a safe strat because I'm scared. I've been traumatized a few times with that section of the run. There we go, better be safe than sorry. And now what I like to say about this section of the run is that this is the section where we learn how to count. Because we'll need to we'll need to load the file at a particular moment, at a particular text box, and usually the best way to do it is I just count the text boxes. Skyward horror. There we go, so we just... Oh, he's wholesome. Okay, so here it's fine, we don't need to count. We need to count for the moment, like at one point we'll get a multiple choice moment, and from there we'll count to 6. 6 text boxes, and then we'll start the file. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. There we go. So now we should have gotten it. So now what we're gonna do, we just need to commit it by doing this. So there we go. Now we committed the RBM. So as I said, now we're gonna fly away from Lanayru. And from there, we will then go to yeah, from there we'll just fly back in, and this time, if it worked, which I think it should have, we should be able to fly into the Temple of Time. Then we'll just need to enter, exit the dungeon to trigger the cutscene, and we should have, there we go, see, so now we can skip the entirety of Lanayru there. And to the great dismay of many runners, this is the only moment we actually are on Lanayru in the entire run. After that, it's bye-bye. And thank you, Jim, for the good luck. If you're about to go on an All Shrines run in Breath of the Wild, then good luck with it too. All the best, man. Okay, so now we should have the harp. There we go. So now I'm gonna try to see if I can skip a fight cutscene. Oh, yes, got it. So I just skipped. I believe it's frame perfect, so it's nice that we got it. And now, you remember how earlier I was talking about the early pillar, which allows us to actually fly to Farron while back in time? Well, now is the moment for that to happen. Now we're about to do our first Farron back in time. So now this is where having file 2 with the Eldin Pillar comes into play. So first what we need to do is just bit save file 2, and then oh, cheers Jim, good luck once again. We'll just go to the platform over there. Wait, oops, I just want to make sure I do things correctly. We select file 2 as soon as we hit, as soon as we land on the left wing, which should then land us into the sky. Once again, it's crucial to put the menu screen, or otherwise you might get screwed over and basically get thrown back to the actual title screen with the intro and all that. So it's important to put that. Now, as you can see, there's a dialogue under, which usually plays in tutorial because we're on that layer of the map. So now we're flying all the way there. We're just gonna go with file 3, which should allow for a shorter cutscene. Like when we land, like it just won't be as long of a cutscene when landing on the floor. So you can see that despite the fact that we went to the Eldin Pillar, you can see under it's a forest. It's Farron. And now what we're about to do is what we call the Ballad of the Goddess skip. So let's go through with it. Oops, can be a bit tricky to pass without getting damaged, but it's no big deal. There we go, so we'll just go with file 1. Here, the way you manipulate files is important, like in that section of the run, so we need to go here with file 1. Then, until we talk to Gruz, do not even open the menu screen. There we go. Here it's fine. Like while we're talking, we can like open files, it's fine. Like yeah, like it's the safe moment. However, after he goes away, we'll follow him to the temple, and we mustn't open any files. So there we go. So there are ways to do that fast, but I just want to do it the safe way. So I won't like sprint, I won't touch any buttons other than the ones to actually move. There we go. Then we'll do a little sneaky strat to actually open the door without accidentally opening a file, which is to do active. There we go. That's the motion control tutorial, and you can just use that as a way. There we go. There we go, this should have worked. Yes, it did. Very nice. So now we've got the Ballad of the Goddess, we've got the Harp, we've got all of that. So now let's save. So something to mention is why don't you just open the door while on the title screen? It's because by default, if you have like the game logo, and then open the title screen, it will by default activate the file 3 properties. So even that even though you don't technically open file 3, you still have to be careful about that, and that's why we did that strat. And now what we're gonna do is RBM 704, which is the bit code for an RBM, and that's what we call the Song of the Hero skip. Up. There we go. Which is basically a setup for the very end of the run, like skipping the whole last third of the game. So that's very important to get correctly. And even if we fail it, for whatever reason, we can still do it at the very end, but preferably not. Okay, so we'll just... And there we go, there's some very specific actions to do here. Now it should be fine. I will just once again go to Farron. There we go. Because, see, I checked the statue, yeah. I did. I put F1 just right before, and then I removed F1, but you know, with still the properties activated, and then I put F2. Normally it should have worked. At least that's how I usually do when it works. Yeah, that's something that's easy to forget, to not check F1 first off. But as I said, even if we fail it, we can still do it at the very end of the run. Hopefully it should work. And we're still not done with the trick. We still have a few things to do. But, you know, once again, I just want to reinforce the idea that even if we fail, it's still catchable. I'm not sure about what will happen is it will actually fly above Skyloft. I believe that's the case. Yeah, you'll just find you have to fly to a specific zone of the map to actually load the sky itself. There we go. There we go. Then we need file 1. So some very specific things to do with files for it to work. There we go. It should have worked. Now we need to enter, very important, with file 2. Yeah, too late will crash it, indeed. That's why you have to be careful about the timing. There we go, should have worked. Looking at the camera and all that. Okay, so indeed, what we've just done, it won't matter until the end of the game, as I've explained earlier. Because normally when you go to the past, to the first time, the door to the sealed valley is locked. Because you're not supposed to go there until, well, when the last third of the game is done. And then you go to the very end, when you beat the final dungeon and all that. And this RBM basically unlocks that door. So it means that once we get to the past, we can straight off go to the very end instead of having to go through all of that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, yes, indeed, it's one about the waterfall, indeed, if you don't get it correctly. So now we'll do the trial. I need to learn Harp cancel. Damn. I'm being oddly bad for whatever reason. That's even a casual gameplay. Nice. I should just learn Harp cancel, which is a way to just make this faster. But, you know, even doing it casual is no big deal, it's fine. I'll probably learn that by the time the marathon comes. A red and lumpy pumpkin, that's a good question, Harm. To actually access it, you know, you're flying from Farron, that's how it works, so, and it automatically puts... No, oops, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna enter. Because usually what happens if you don't have tutorial is that it doesn't seem to actually load the sky at all, like, at least in my experience. Yeah, something along those ways. Okay, so this is a rather chill section of the run, this part. Casually speaking, for when you're playing the game casually, it's scary, but in a speedrun context, since we know the exact path, yeah, it's pretty easy. Although I feel like I'm just jinxing myself at this point. But we'll see what happens. So basically the principle of that section of the run is that we just need to collect all of the Tears of Light and then come back here, which will get us the Water Dragon Scale, which is an item that allows us to dive underwater and also, so yeah, diving underwater and then doing jumps out of the water and all that, which is what allows us to actually get to the Ancient Cistern, which we'll get to like later in the run. There we go. In theory, if we could skip Ancient Cistern, we could skip all of that too. But unfortunately, that is currently impossible because of the fact that it will otherwise crash the game when we're at In Prison 2. There's a very good video that Gymnast actually made about that topic. But yeah, so far, as of right now, we still need to go through Ancient Cistern to prevent that crash from happening. There we go. Like during the in-prison fight. There we go. It's V-Jinx. All the jinxing in the world. There we go. So I'm purposely avoiding like the berries like on the side there because their purpose is normally to highlight the Tears of Light like with a beam of light that you can see throughout the entire map. But doing that triggers a little cutscene like the first time, so it's purposeless to do it first because we know the location of the Tears of Light, like as runners, and and that little cutscene does take a few seconds, so it's a few seconds saved if you avoid them. But likewise, it's no big deal if you miss it. Oh, come on. There we go. By the way, the water that we just saw, if you step on it, it triggers the Guardians, so definitely it's not really a good idea to step on it. And hey systems, how are you doing? Okay, so we're almost at the end. We've only got 1 tier of light left. There we go. We just need to climb back up here. There we go. So then we'll just need to get back to the original point, and this will get us the water dragon scale. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well. Yes, indeed. Oh, I forgot to actually answer your question, Christoph, because so you were asking earlier about the weekly race, like changing the time, and I forgot to answer you. So yes, now I should be able to do both the Breath of the Wild weekly and the Skyward Sword monthly, probably. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're gonna do another RBM. And this time it's gonna involve a gratitude crystal, so that's a bit of a different one compared to what we usually have done so far. So first off, as per the usual, wait, I'll just pull out the bomb. We'll save. And what we need to do is that we need to enter one of the NPC's house, sleep today. So basically, Link will sleep for 24 hours. Very nice. And then we'll need to talk to that NPC so that she gives us a gratitude crystal, and likewise trigger the file at the right moments we actually get the gratitude crystal, which will once again trigger the files we need. Trigger the flags, yeah, sorry. So to do that, we'll need first to bit save file 1 in here. But very importantly, select like file 2 or file 3 also works, but file 2 is safer. At the same time, because otherwise, like if I recall correctly, it will lock you again in a cutscene and you have to restart the whole thing if you don't do that for whatever reason. So usually selecting the other file while that happens usually is the solution. Now we're in the house. We're gonna go to sleep. There we go. There we go. We're gonna talk to her. Up. So now, okay, so we're waiting. I fear that might be a bit early. I hope that was not. Let me check the inventory. Oh, no, we're fine. So yeah, you can see you can check the inventory to check if you actually got the gratitude crystal, and we got them, so we're fine. Up. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly to Eldin. We're gonna do one other RBM to trigger. It will help us get to the Eldin trial. To get the fire shell earrings, which are necessary to enter the center of the volcano. Hundo in which game? That is the question. Okay, there we go. Because yeah, now we need to actually trigger, like you saw earlier how we needed to do the harp to trigger it. This time we don't need to actually use the harp to trigger it, but we'll just need to do an RBM. Likewise with Batro, so the demon guy we had earlier. A Zelda 3D 100 challenge, oh my god, oh my god. I know I intend on doing the 3D Zelda challenge like later, but 100 challenge, that sounds insane. I think that, isn't that what Specs actually intends to do in a way? Because I think like he's learning all of the game's hundos, isn't he? Okay, either way. Yes. Yes, you definitely, that's quite dangerous, especially with Breath of the Wild hundo. For the health, I think that's why nobody's done it before, at least as far as I know. Okay, so first we'll just need to check the fruit with file 1. There we go. And then we'll need to do the same thing, basically, as we did back in Leneiru. There we go. Final 3 checked. Now we'll get back to Batro. The RBM is a bit different. It's similar to the old one, but it's a bit similar. There we go, just want to be careful. Very important, enter with file 1 to make sure battery will be in the right state. There we go, so we're gonna perform another RBM on the next text box, that one. There we go. And normally the challenge should appear behind us, the entry to the trial, which we don't see right now, which is normal, but as usual we will commit it by dying and then reloading the game. There we go. There we go, and now it's here. Thank you, RBMs. So now we're in the Eldin trial. It's a section of the run that I like, personally. These are pretty good sections to really test out your abilities in terms of movement and whatnot. Like, it's not about testing your glitches and all that, it's really pure movement, and that's what I like about the sections. And that's what's also interesting to watch, because you can really see how the runner knows their movement, in a way. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna grab our first Hero Flight just right there. There we go. Okay, so hopefully we won't get jinxed this time around, because this region seems to be prone to jinx on my side. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's avoid the lives, because otherwise it means we basically get spotted. There we go. Whoop. Oh, that was close. Yeah, Monka Omega, I can definitely understand. Now we're gonna do a little funny jump. There we go. I like that jump. It's a bit tricky, like when you first learn it, because you're not really sure of your cues, but once you get it, it's fine. There we go. There we go. So we're going pretty smoothly so far, that's nice. We're soon gonna get into a very, very intense section of the run, though, after that. That's gonna be really interesting to watch. "52 hours. Oh my, that's genuinely dangerous to do it. Like, all in one line. Like, why would I say one line? Well, like, do like all the hondos straight. It seems like quite a dangerous thing to do. Oops. That was a bit goofy on my part right there, a little movement, but that's fine. There we go. Okay, let's try and not pick up the item there. It's no big deal. If we pick it up, once again, it's just a few seconds lost if we pick it up, so it's not really convenient if we do. We almost got spotted. I took a risk there because if I got spotted I would also have fallen in the lava, which would have put us back and oh, oops. And put us more at risk of getting hit by guardians, but we're fine. Then again, as a Breath of the Wild runner, I'm also traumatized by the guardians, but it's not the same guardian as Skyward Sword. Yeah, that makes sense, Harm, because otherwise it's really a risk to the health, like doing so many hours without sleep, without rest. Definitely you don't really want to compromise your health with that. Oh, crap. So now you can see what I mean, like, you know, the little animation where you see, you know, use a few seconds to that. Oh well, that's fine. Yeah, well, we picked that up anyway. So now we're going sliding, yay! It's a bit of a discount Disneyland at this point. Yeah, Specs is a very dedicated runner and he'd be capable of doing it if he wanted to. But obviously, health, you know. But he's very responsible, otherwise, like, he knows what he's doing, usually. There we go, so now we've got all of our Tears of Light. We're almost done with the whole thing. And we should get, actually, a pretty good time save here. Still in the red, but we're getting a time save here compared to my PB run. That's nice. Okay, so what is the next step of the run? Okay, so our next step is to get to Fire Sanctuary, which is normally this, like, without counting the last dungeon, which is the Skykeep dungeon in Skyloft, is the last real dungeon, but otherwise like the second last dungeon if you do count it. But to do that we actually need to perform a few RBMs, one of them being really quite special, which is the Lumpy Pumpkin Diving RBM. Which is really gonna be something. It's gonna be interesting to watch. So, okay, we're just intentionally losing a bit of health here. That will be useful. The reason why we need to do those RBMs is because normally, casually, the Fire Sanctuary is blocked by a wall of fire. And normally you're supposed to go through a bunch of like exchange side quests and go collect like some water and whatnot, go traverse multiple regions and all that to do it. It's really tedious to do. But with those I can't talk. With those RBMs you can just skip all of that entirely, luckily. So thank you RBMs. So we're gonna do our first one right here. So the first one is a bit more standard, but there we go. Still important to do nonetheless. So likewise, it's using the Sheikah Stone. It's using the. It's a bit similar to what we did in Skyview Temple. Yeah, the Skyward Temple to skip Girahim. It's a bit similar to that one. There we go. It's not exactly the same, there's a few things that are different, but it's similar. Okay, now we need to be careful again about once we trigger file 3. There we go. We bit save on it. And then we're gonna just gonna safely go through that. Just want to take any risks with the camera. Should have worked. Very nice. Then, before we can actually move on to the second RBM we need to do right away, is that we need to commit it, as usual. And to commit it, we just need, the only thing we need to do is go outside and then come back in again. There we go. And now we're gonna do one of the more interesting RBMs to do in the entire run. Oops. It can be a bit scary, but it's definitely really it really feels good to get it. It's really suspenseful in a way, but it's not even compared to what will be done afterwards, but we'll see that after. Anyways, okay, here we are. So basically what we need to do, the goal of this RBM is to collect a gratitude crystal like we did earlier in the run, that is located in a shed that is on Lumpy Pumpkin Island. The problem is, well, we're not on Lumpy Pumpkin Island. We need to actually go there. To do that, first off, we'll need to go to Farron and then fly back up. So let's go through that. So first off, there we go. Bit saving file 2, and then we'll go to Farron. And from there, okay, just go on, lag, oops. And then we'll fly back up, and then we'll need, as you can see, it's gonna be really, there we go. The thing is, we'll still have the invisible wall happening at that moment. And so we'll need to actually dive, like get off the actual Loftwing in order to actually reach the island. And because of that, you need to really estimate well the height from which to jump and checking that you go in the right direction and whatnot. It's really interesting to do. There we go. So now just flying over to Farron, and then we're immediately gonna go back up. There we go, we've got the statue there. Nope. Picking up file 2, because otherwise the game will crash. As far as I remember. Then we'll just need to activate, because on, there we go. Normally this should be good enough, but I'll activate file 3 just in case. But that should have been good. Just activating the menu screen should be enough. The reason why I've done that is because otherwise we can't actually lip off the Loftwing. Okay, there we go. So now we need to locate the island, which is just right in front of us, but we're actually blocked by the invisible wall. So we need to rise as high as we can, or if you're confident, you can try to like just have the bare minimum, but just for safety, I'm gonna try and go as high as possible to make sure we don't fail it. I'm not sure of the exact amount of flaps you need for that, but you can like occasionally. There we go. Just to make sure I stay eyes on the target. There we go, I see the island over there. You have to be careful about the dialogue, because if you skip the entirety of the dialogue, what can happen is that... There we go, should be good. Should be good now. In fact, I think we're overly safe right now, unless I majorly mess up. There we go, it's over there. Because, see, there's a dialogue going on, and if you skip through the entirety of the dialogue, the tutorial might actually finish. So obviously you don't want that to happen, so that's why usually we try to keep, like, pressing A to a minimum in that kind of situation. But yeah, there we go, we should reach safely. If you fail it, you can just call back the bud and you'll just be outside the invisible wall again, and you can retry. But it's a bit tedious. But yeah, there we go. We passed through this scary section. So now what we need to do to get the gratitude crystal is we just need to sleep tonight. There we go. And we're gonna go back out again. Yeah, 25 seems like a reasonable number to me, the minimum. Now we're gonna go out with file 1. There we go, we can see the gratitude crystal in there, we just need to make sure we actually get it. We got it, very nice. Harm. You epic. So now we're gonna commit it by coming back to this area, but since this has been wasted, now we just need to. There we go. Now it's committed by bonking on this waterfall. Then we need to collect water, just for one little thing, and then we should be a-okay. And then we'll soon be reaching what we like to call the RBM Sanctuary. Because there's lots and lots of RBMs going on in that section of the run. And we're soon gonna reach what to me is probably the scariest part of the run, which is called the reverse bit warp. It's a reverse bit warp that we do to actually access the ancient cistern. Because we'll need to spawn in at a particular location. When I mean reverse bit warp, of course, what does that mean? I was talking, like, from at the beginning of the run, you know, we had bit warps, in which you save on a statue, like, in the main file, and then when you save and load a file at the same time, like, while back in time, it applies those coordinates onto the main file, which then therefore changes your location when you load back. And therefore, but the reverse bit warp, as implied, is the reverse of that, where it's the coordinates of the, like, in-game file, like the actual file that affect the coordinate of the map you spawn in back when you load the file back in time. It sounds a bit weird the way I say it, but you'll see it in action, like, in just a few moments. Oh, rip Harm. Rip Harm's fridge. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the first of those RBMs. Oops, that did not work. Those trees can be a bit wonky at times. There we go, should have worked. So we did an RBM with a statue right there. So normally, oh. There we go, now we just need to commit it by doing that. So now this first RBM is committed. So now we save again and we'll do our second one. All of those RBMs that we're doing right now are setups for a bit later in the run. Up. So now we're gonna do our second one. And all of that will allow us later on, because later on to basically skip the entirety of the dungeon once again. Skipping dungeons is our motto. There we go. Oh, that sounds awful. Harm. The alarm must be quite annoying. Okay, so now we'll do that on the other statue. The same thing. There we go. What would I forget? RBM Sanctuary. I am in RBM Sanctuary. Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. But yeah, now we're gonna do... There we go. The same thing. There we go. Should have worked. Yeah, because I already said earlier RBM Sanctuary, maybe you didn't hear it. But yeah, RBM Sanctuary, as we like to call, instead of Fire Sanctuary. Okay, and now we got our third RBM. And after that we're getting, yeah, you probably missed it, I was talking about it earlier. Okay, so now this one likewise is one with what's it called? Gratitude crystal. And all of these RBMs will allow us really to skip basically the entirety of the dungeon. I can see your reason, Harm. That's perfectly fair. And if you enjoy it, then I'm glad. So we're gonna sleep tonight. And then, because at night there is a gratitude crystal right there, so we're just gonna grab that one like in an RBM fashion. There we go, it's right there, you can see it. There we go. Just for safety, normally this should have worked. Normally, yeah, we've got 7. That should be fine. Now, to commit it, we're gonna grab a ferry from right there, and we'll get it to the reverse bit warp. So you may remember how for the Eldin bit warp to the cave, we had to have a precise positioning with the statue back in time to land properly in the loading zone. Well, this time it's the reverse, and we need to have the precise positioning in here in the actual file. But here it is especially precise, and it needs a pretty precise setup to work. Wait, something's not right. So bear with me if I take a bit of time to get that setup done. It's just that it's quite a scary. Okay, so let's see. We'll check. I've got some visual cues. That looks right to me. Okay. So now we saved, and normally if this is correct, which I hope so, but I think this looks correct. This means that we should be able to land correctly for the oh wait, I was dumb. Why did I not jump to lava? That's fine. Yes, Skyward Sword is a very rewarding game to run, definitely. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna walk all the way to the Ancient Cistern back in time. If you've played the game casually, you might start to realize how much distance we've got to do. And that's why failing this this trick is quite a time loss, because it means you have to restart the entire thing. As I said, I think I got it, like looking at my visual cues, that looked correct. But you never know. So to me, that's why to me like this section is very scary, because it's quite the time loss if it's failed. So first we go through a Farron RBM. There we go. There we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly over to we're gonna fly. Yes, I do believe it is SVS setup. I believe so. I mean, SVS is a legend. What do you want? Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna go to Farron. We're gonna traverse Farron for a bit. And then we're gonna use a little shortcut to get to the Floria waterfall, where the dungeon is located. And from there we'll enter the dungeon and open file 1 as we enter. And if we got it done correctly, we'll therefore spawn in the dungeon up and at the correct coordinates we want, which are very precise. Oops. That's whether it makes sense, Harp. Okay, center with file 3. Usually, since we go to that section 3 times, I like to think the first time you go file 1, second time file 2, in terms of what you can do, and then last time file 3. There are other possibilities of how you can handle it, but that feels easy to memorize that way. Okay, now it's necessary we enter with file 1. Okay, wait, let me... My files is being a bit wonky. There we go. File 1. There we go. So now we need to make sure we don't stare at the lake. The same way as for Phi, basically, in Skyloft. Like we don't have the camera pointed to the lake. There we go. Then we need to enter with file 3 because I believe the game crashes otherwise. There we go. There we go. There we go, and we're gonna perform the trick right now. Cross fingers. Nice, it worked. So we land just right there in this corner. We get revived by the fairy we picked up earlier. There we go. And now we get the boss key right there. So that's pretty much perfect right now. There we go. Okay, I'm glad we managed to get past that. That's very nice. So now that we've got the boss key, all we need to do now is get the whip. Which will require a bit of going around the dungeon because we need a small key. But it should be quick to get. And after that we'll go straight to Koloktos, which is the boss of this dungeon. There we go, we managed to do a high jump. Very nice. Took a bit of trouble, but it's fine, it worked. Yeah, the high jump occurs like usually when you do like a side hop and then backflip immediately, pretty much. And you can use that to just traverse that quickly. Sometimes it can be a bit annoying, and I've lost like huge amounts of time to failing it, like for an entire minute. Which is what happened in my PB. So now, of course, because this is gonna be a marathon run, I'm gonna go for safety, and like right when we get up, I'm gonna go for a safety save. Because the problem is, if we die right now, it means we restart all the way from the Fire Sanctuary. I don't need to spell how much of a problem that is, so there we go, safety save. Marathon safety first. Oops. And to land on the top, right there. There we go. So yeah, we'll just need to get a small key from to get a small key from this little set of rooms. It shouldn't take too long. And then after that, we'll go get the whip. Oh, nice, we managed to be fast here. Normally, if you jump, there's a little... it kind of makes you lose time to land on the lily pad. Luckily, we managed to get just beyond them, which allowed us for a brief little time save there. And plus, we also managed to get an immediate, like, dive up. Well, although that's a combination of words that doesn't really make sense, but yeah. So it means we managed to get quite optimally through that room. That's nice. There we go. Now we just need to actually turn that lily pad up so we can get out of the room, which will lead us to the small key. There we go. And there we go, we've got the chest. With the key, we should be getting the whip very soon. There we go. Let's go get the whip. Sometimes, most of the time you don't get hit by the Dekubaba, but sometimes it's not cooperative and it will hit you, so you need to be careful about that. Okay, so once again, for the sake of marathon safety, because we're gonna do a trick that can be a bit scary. Well, it's not a trick, but it's more of like a movement thing. That can be a bit scary, so I'm just gonna safety save. Basically, we're gonna jump off the platform and we'll need to land and have Link climb up the way he just did, because he will just barely land. So, and if you miss it, you basically fall all the way down, and yeah, it's not fun. So once again, marathon safety. That cutscene looks silly because normally the first time you actually access it, the statue is not in this state, so that's why the cutscene looks a bit silly. That's funny. Okay. There we go, see? Like if you're just a bit off, you can land down instead. There we go. Normally you're supposed to access the door through the other side by putting it down. That's why we didn't see the lock on that side. Or not the other side, but yeah, you get the point, basically. Well, basically, yeah, we didn't see the lock. But that was a locked door. You could hear the sound effect. But yeah, now we've got the whip. That's nice. So now we can go straight to Koloktos, who likewise has a statue just before him, so we can save. There we go. There we go. Yes, indeed, that is a nice time save. Whoa. Come on, Link. Don't be scary like that. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna fight Koloktos. That's gonna be interesting. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna rise, and luckily, as I said, there is yeah, I need gold indeed, because I golded every single one of those splits, I think, after that one, to get to the end. But, I mean, my goal with this one is not to get a PB. This would have been a PB if I didn't screw up the bomb split so much, actually, and probably by around 2 minutes. Like, you can see how much time save. This tells you how much, by the time ESA will turn around, my PB and consistency will be much better by then. There we go. There you go, so we did a safety save. But yeah, I think we're good for getting like a pretty decent run. Like to me, right now this is, like the run we're getting right now is pretty much my average right now, and it will improve as time goes on. Okay, so yeah, now we're getting to Koloktos. And likewise for Hugo, who will also be racing with me, like he'll be grinding the game, like until ESA. That should be interesting for the race. And Flo will be commentating and probably Lepalog too. So that's gonna be, I think that's why I think it's gonna be interesting, all of that. I hope for the viewers at home it will be an interesting run to watch. If it does end up being accepted, of course. Okay, let's try the one cycle actually. Oh crap! Okay, that was a fail. I tried the one cycle, that was a complete fail. Okay, at least we managed to get through the first cycle without hits because the first bomb exploded. At the very least, it wasn't completely useless, but then if we take any hits, we die. Oh crap. Oh, that was scary. Come on, stop with those attacks! Come on. There we go. That was scary. Yeah, now if we take any hits we die. That should be fun, most likely. It's unfortunate we failed the one cycle, but that's fine. Oh, damn it. For some reason, the whip wouldn't do the thing. It's a bit gonna be of a time loss. But that's fine. And luckily, even if we die, I saved right before the fight. So even if we die, it's no big deal. We just have to restart the fight. Oh, no worries. Welcome back, Harp. Okay, so now we're getting to second phase. I'll try and, if possible, if I have enough health during the marathon run to get to one cycle for the first phase. But even then, that is fine. Getting a one cycle in that phase is a lot simpler, though. That's it. Yep. Dead. Normally the best optimized way to do it is normally at the end of Fire Sanctuary, but I'll just pick up the piece of heart here just because I don't know, I just don't feel safe. Because of precisely Girahim. Girahim doesn't make me feel safe. So, although it's technically a bit of a time loss, I'll just go for safety and grab the heart here. Because normally the most optimized would be, I believe, to grab the heart after Girahim 2 in Fire Sanctuary. But the difference isn't that high, so it's okay. Okay, so now we're just gonna get Fire's Flame and be done with the Ancient Cistern, and the next step is to go to Fire Sanctuary again. Now, you may remember all the RBMs we've done in Fire Sanctuary, or RBM Sanctuary. And what this... If you have played the game casually, you may remember that there is actually, like, one of the exceptions, one of the things that makes this dungeon special is that there are some outdoor areas with even a bird statue to which you can actually fly to, or rather land to, like from outside, that is right in front of the boss door. By following this, by watching this entire video, I suppose you may see where I'm going with this. In that, with the RBMs we've done, we activated that bird statue so we can land right in front of the boss door of Fire Sanctuary. And very conveniently for us, the boss door itself, the key, is located like one room away from there. So things are extremely convenient in that case. So now hopefully we've done all the RBMs properly and we should be able to land in Fire Sanctuary properly. But yeah, now we're starting to get into what we can call the end game, really. Because now we're getting like into just doing a few things in Fire Sanctuary and then we beat Girahim. Immediately after Girahim, as you may see on my splits here, we get to Imprisoned, and after Imprisoned, it's the end, it's Demise. So right now, it's the end. We're getting to the end of the run. And it's pretty intense. There we go, so you can see on the top right, the statue. There we go. There we go. Here we are. So see, boss door. We're gonna do our second last RBM of the entire run right now. So we just need to... Oh, oops, we don't have any bombs left. But that's fine. Worst case, we've got lava to kill Link. Just, okay, maybe he can hit us. There we go, then just jump. True, there is Girahim again. Like after the horde. Okay, so now we'll just need to RBM the Bazaar statue, kind of like we did for the RBM Sanctuary RBMs. RBM Sanctuary. Okay. There we go, that statue specifically. There we go, should have worked. Okay, so that was our second last RBM of the entire run. Now we'll just need to go grab, I'll just grab my shield there. I will just grab a ferry, because you don't need that ferry, technically speaking, to finish the run. Not unlike that first ferry for the Ancient Cistern where it was needed. But considering we don't have much health, considering I don't have much health, like you don't have much health in this run, it's definitely useful. And as you can see with the power of RBMs, it's unlocked and we can just get to the chest. And welcome back, gaming. Yeah, indeed, that's what I was saying earlier, like my run is not even the most optimized of them all. Like by the time ESA comes around, it will be a lot more optimized, most likely. Like my splits, I know I've got the potential to get so much lower. Like you can see my sum of best is much lower than my PB. So it's just a question of oh, there we go. Of consistency, and it should be fine. Yeah, I've been cursed every time, unfortunately, because but that's because at the time of those community races I didn't feel as confident about running Skyward Sword, but now I do feel more confident, so I think the community races should go better. Okay. Okay, very nice. Oops, gotta be careful. Oops. Come on. Oops, that was a big fail of me. There we go, he dead. That was a bit of a sloppy fight, but that's fine, unfortunately. Yes, now I'm warmed up. I'm not warmed up for Breath of the Wild though, but that's gonna be fun, hopefully. Yeah, we're losing a bit of time, but that's fine. Once again, my goal with this run is not to get a PB, so I accept it. But yeah, as you can see, oh, we don't need to grab the heart, it's fine. Although I guess for marathon safety you could grab it. It's something I suppose the decision can take on the spot. But usually just the one heart is enough. There we go. Okay, so now we're getting to imprisoned and we're very soon about to do our final RBM. So you can almost say In fact, it's not just our last RBM, it's our very last back in time. So, unless we failed the Song of the Hero skip, in which case we'll have to do that again. But I think we managed to get it, so it should be fine. So, get ready to see Link die one last time. I mean, hopefully one last time. So now, since I saved, it's fine, can use up the fairy. I mean, we need to use up the fairy anyways to actually die. But it's still saved in the file, since we saved just before. There we go. And we're gonna do an RBM that will make us go straight to Imprison 2. Now you may notice that I'm referring to Imprison 2. Like for those that haven't played the game, you'll normally fight Imprisoned 3 times. And in the speedrun, the only one you're actually required to go through is the second time you fight him. So it means 1 is entirely skipped, and likewise is 3. We're very lucky because usually Imprison is memed as being like a very tedious boss because you do it 3 times. But yeah, here we're fine. Just the 1 time. Exactly, that's something I haven't been talking about much, but indeed, that's what skips. Indeed. Basically what Christoph is saying, the first one, the early Thunderhead was what we did like back within like the first hour of the run pretty much. While the Song of the Hero skip, well, it's what we've done earlier in the run, basically. And by traversing the door when we go to the past, it means we entirely skip it, basically. Well, I can't really show the Wiimote right now, because I'm using them for motion controls, but as soon as my controls are free, I shall. It's special edition. I actually bought that Wii remote with my original copy of Skyward Sword, like back when it was released in 2011. So I've got a lot of memories with that Wii remote. Now, of course, yeah, then I got a Japanese copy like a few months ago, when I had the opportunity to go to Japan. And I was very lucky in that case because otherwise I would have just ran like the English version. So I was very lucky in that sense. Now we're just gonna bit save on file 1 to trigger, just to change the map to be in the right conditions. And also spawn back here, there we go, when we do the RBM. Oops, that's fine. Okay, so we'll need to be careful because the game can actually crash if you don't press Z here. There we go. Then file 3 to actually open the door, but then while it's opening, file 1. No! Link, why did you plant a bomb? That's not how you do it. God damn it. Link, why? Oh, oops. Okay, that's a bit of a shameful time loss. I don't know why he picked up. There we go, then... Oh, crap, we need to stay on Z mode to not actually... Okay, my bad. That's my bad. No. I'm having odd issues that I've never had in a while. No, stop pulling out. There we go. Okay, so this is the final RBM. Sorry about that time loss, that was stupid of me. That should have worked. I feel like that was a bit early. But yeah, I think that should be enough. Okay, so now we're gonna try and get a fast fight by getting like a consistent cycle. Hopefully it will work out well. Because normally, Imprison throws you off his body every time you get him. Oh crap, we missed it. Oh no, we missed his third finger. Also, we can't do the fast thing. Crap. Yeah, because normally what you're supposed to do is break his 3 fingers there. And then use the air gust to go up. But the problem is if you don't do that, this air gust is blocked. Oh crap, we failed it. So see, like you see Link's animation, now he jumps off. But if you do a proper jump and slash, and land in the right position, the game will not actually register that Link is on Imprison's head. So it won't actually throw him off. We just need to do that 3 times. It's okay, it's not too bad to fail it, like in a marathon setting. We could be in a worse situation. Maybe we'll get it the second try, maybe. There we go, we can instantly cancel the little cutscene by pressing A and B at the same time, so that we can actually move forward for a bit. Yes, we got it this time around, so we just need to get in. So we see Link now standing normal instead of being like ooh, shaky like that, and we stay on him. There we go. It could have been better, but it's not bad. Okay, so now Imprison 2 is done. We just need to seal him away, and then we'll be able to move on to the final split. We're reaching the end game now. The end of the end game. There we go. Okay, so yeah, just do the pattern, and then there we go. So now the last thing that we need to do, now that we've got the fully powered Master Sword, well, yeah, around fully powered Master Sword, we can actually unlock the Door of Time, which will allow us to get to the past, which is what we've been working towards for the entire run. So, oops, did my nunchuck disconnect? Let me reconnect it. There we go. And so, because it's in the past that we actually do the ending of the game. Oh, there we go. And essentially, what do I want to say? First off, before entering the past, we're just gonna heal up a bit. We already have a ferry, so we already have some safety in there. But just in case, I'm also gonna... because luckily what you can do is that you can actually sit like on chairs to heal up some health. Because remember, since we're in hero mode, we can't actually pick up hearts, as I said like at the very beginning of the run. So, but luckily we can just do that, and it heals us up. There we go. That's done. So now we'll just there we go, Skyward strike the portal, and we'll get to the past. which can only be done if you actually have a fully powered Master Sword. Now we arrive in the past. Technically you could already leave and get to the fight, but technically there is actually still one upgrade you can do to the Master Sword, which is why I was a bit hesitating when I was saying, oh, fully powered Master Sword, but that was more of a figure of speech. Like, so definitely it's advised to just go there to talk to Zelda, and then you really have a fully powered Master Sword at this point. There we go, now we've got a fully powered Master Sword. I'm just gonna save here for safety. Often there's not really any point at this point, but yeah, you never know. So now, moment of truth. We got it, okay. Normally, casually, when you're at this point, this door is locked. But because we did the RBM 704 much earlier in the run, and we did successfully, this door is unlocked and we can get straight to the end of the game. So we just skipped the whole last third of the game. So now, this is basically a Hyrule Warriors game. Oops. Oh, damn it, Bokos. They surround you. But yeah, basically here, this is basically the scene that honestly feels like it's probably the scene that inspired the creation of Hyrule Warriors. Good game. So we just need to kill those captains. And sometimes it can be a bit tedious to kill because they constantly block the attacks. Oh. Oh, they're annoying when they block the attacks. You don't need to kill all of them, just the captains. Okay, hopefully we can get... I'm hoping I can get like the jump, because what you can do is that you can jump on Moblin's shield there to skip a large part of this area. But I've had a hard time doing it, so it's definitely something I will practice. But that's no big deal if that fails. Yes! Oh my god! First time doing it in a run. I've done it in Isles before, but we did it. Yes! Bug. Okay. Horde skip. Oh crap, we got killed here. But luckily we've got the ferry. Here what's a bit troublesome is the bokoblins, not even the staffers themselves, because right now I can't see anything of what's going on right now. There we go. So let's just be careful with our health from now onwards. But yeah, if we don't die in this run, this is definitely gold potential. Because yeah, the principle of this whole moment, like that we've just done, is that it skips like at least like pretty much half of the not half, like a good section of the horde by jumping over with the shield. And it's a bit tricky sometimes to get, so I'm glad to get it. Now, and then after that we've got the fight with Girahim that is pretty optimized, and then after that it's Demise. So right now the run is pretty much almost over, and now it's just this final stretch. We just need to kill those guys. There we go. So here, basically, the principle is to just be optimal with your like attack patterns, and brief like some subtle strats. Like for instance, you can jump off instead to save a bit of time, so that you can immediately strike him there instead of waiting for the animation to be done before jumping. There we go. You just have to avoid his attacks. There we go. Luckily, every single stage like of this endgame part, if you die, you restart at that point. What I mean by that is, for instance, if you die at the Horde, you have to restart the entire Horde. But if you die at Girahim, you don't have to do the Horde, you just have to redo, you start from Girahim. And if you die at Demise, you just have to redo Demise, not Girahim and all that. So that's why it's pretty forgiving in that sense. But still annoying if you do die. Hopefully we won't die. There we go. So now just avoiding his attacks. Oof! I did not expect that. Oh, RNG is not being nice with us right now. Like, he keeps doing those attacks that we can't really do anything with. Come on. There we go. It's a shame we lost quite a large enough time right now to RNG, but that's fine. Now that phase is easy. Just have to go in the right direction. There we go, done with gear him. Now we've only got Demise, and hopefully if we get first try, this is a gold. But yeah, now the Demise fight, there's two methods to beat him, with or without shield. I'd much rather, hopefully the best hope obviously is that we can beat him with a shield. Because it's a lot safer. So let's go beat Demise. First phase is fine, it's the second phase that can be a bit dangerous. There we go, so C phase 1 is done. Hopefully we'll get a cooperative Demise, because his electric attacks deal a lot more damage than his normal attacks. And if we hit his sword while it's electric, it's see, that's what happens. I did not expect that to attack, because normally Demise does another attack as his first attack, but we were unfortunately unlucky here. It unfortunately costs us a gold, but that's fine. We just need to... up. It's a shame, because it would have been a beautiful gold if we managed to get it, but that's okay. As you see, we just respawn outside the battle, so technically from here onwards, we just have as many tries as we want for the fight. Hopefully this time around it will be okay. So it still remains fairly safe. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully that's a nice attack this time. There we go, that's exactly how we want him to be. So the first time he won't, it will never work if you try to strike him immediately. There we go. And we're done with Skyward Sword any percent. So in that final phase of the fight, you cannot... It's impossible to get him the first try he's on the ground, you need to do it the second time. And if you're too slow, he will dodge again, which can be a really risky moment, because then he can then strike at you again and kill you. Well, luckily we got it. So yeah, this is... We've managed to get a run that was definitely a lot under what the estimate will be. Obviously, we might adjust the estimate like as time goes on until like depending on our average time, me and Hugo, and everything, depending on all those factors. But yeah, in any case, as you can see, Skyward Sword 80% is a run that has a lot of interesting stuff going on in it. Lots of technical stuff going on. It's really interesting to watch, and the fights are interesting, and especially where it's important to visit is that unlike like the same time last year, the run is actually at an acceptable length for a marathon, which it didn't used to be. So in that sense, that's why I think having a Skyward Sword 80% run right now is a really good opportunity. So yeah, we'll check with everything, and hopefully by the time ESA comes around, if this race is accepted, we'll have even better times. We'll be able to showcase and have, you know, a fun run for charity that will be amazing. And thanks for watching.